Julian vanished from my birthday party after taking a phone call. The very next morning, Chloe, the woman Julian had carried a torch for, posted on her social media. "Thank you for coming to me when I felt most helpless and alone." The accompanying photo was a profile shot of Julian, fast asleep. In that instant, the decade I'd spent waiting, hoping, finally shattered. I mentally drew a line, erasing him completely from the landscape of my heart. Julian returned, and he brought Chloe with him. He found me downstairs from my apartment building, and she was right there beside him, clinging to his arm. Julian gently stroked Chloe's cheek, his eyes overflowing with the tenderness I'd craved for years. Strangely, after loving him for 10 years, watching him lavish affection on another woman right in front of me, I felt nothing, a hollow sort of calm. I walked over, pasting on my usual bright smile. "Need something?" Julian handed me a small, elegantly wrapped box. "Sorry," he said, his voice smooth. "Things were hectic that night. I didn't get a chance to give you your birthday gift." I accepted it with a polite, distant smile. "Thanks. Chloe and I are heading out for dinner soon," he added casually. "Want to join us?" I waved a dismissive hand. "No thanks. I'd rather not be the third wheel." As I turned to leave, I overheard Julian murmuring to Chloe, his voice low but audible. "See? I told you. My relationship with Ava isn't what you think." Chloe snuggled closer to his arm, sticking out her tongue playfully. Okay, my bad. I misunderstood. I apologize." A self-deprecating smile touched my lips. So that was the real reason he'd sought me out today. To parade his new relationship and reassure his girlfriend. After a decade of pining, the moment he finally won over his longtime crush, I was instantly relegated from potential backup to just a friend. Annoyingly, my main point of irritation wasn't heartbreak, but the sheer audacity of their public display of affection, right after using me as a prop, felt disrespectful. Back in my apartment, I tossed the belated birthday gift onto the sofa without a second glance. With them gone, a surprising wave of relief washed over me. The air felt lighter, clearer. Although Julian and I worked for different companies, our offices were in the same building. He was on the 22nd floor, I was on the 21st. Julian was notoriously picky about food and had a bad habit of skipping breakfast. Predictably, he developed stomach problems over time. Since our workplaces were so close, I'd gotten into the routine of waking up an hour early every day to make him breakfast, dropping it off on my way to my own office. That morning, when I arrived empty-handed, a colleague noticed immediately. "Hey, no breakfast delivery for Mr. Upstairs today," she teased. "Did you two have a fight?" I just smiled. "No fight. Just feeling lazy. Getting up early every day is exhausting." After the brief chat, I pushed the breakfast ritual out of my mind. 3 days passed without incident. Then Julian suddenly appeared downstairs at my office. He didn't look pleased. "Why haven't you brought me breakfast lately?" he asked, his tone carrying an edge of entitlement. Seeing that look on his face, that casual assumption of my service, made something inside me scoff silently. "Well, I can't exactly bring you breakfast every single day, can I?" He blinked, seemingly taken aback, but before he could reply, my phone rang. It was my manager. After finishing the call, I said briskly, "Manager's doing rounds. I need to get back to my desk." I hurried away, deliberately ignoring the bewildered expression on his face. During a work break, I scrolled through my social media feed. Chloe had posted a video just minutes earlier. Adopted a little thread-pulling expert. The video showed a tabby cat energetically unraveling a dark blue scarf. I recognized it instantly. It was the scarf I brought back for Julian from a trip abroad with my best friend Maya last winter. I saw a mutual friend comment teasingly beneath the post. "Wow, rich girl. Destroying a scarf worth hundreds just like that." Chloe knew exactly what she was doing. It was deliberate provocation, plain and simple. A moment later, a text popped up from Maya. "Isn't that scarf Chloe's cat is destroying the one you gave Julian last year?" I replied calmly. "Yep, that's the one." After sending the text, I paused, surprised by my own lack of reaction. Then I sent another message to Maya. "Do you think is it possible that one day I might actually stop liking Julian?" Maya's reply came back instantly, laced with exasperation. "Impossible. If you could really stop liking him, you'd start by throwing out every single birthday gift he's given you over the past 10 years. For a decade, I treasured every birthday gift from Julian. keeping them safely stored away like precious artifacts. Maya's words reminded me, hadn't even opened the belated gift Julian had given me a few days ago. That felt significant. I had absolutely no curiosity about what was inside. A few days later, as I stepped out of the elevator after work, Julian intercepted me. "Want to catch a movie tonight?" he asked, his tone casual, as if assuming my availability. "Why don't you ask your girlfriend?" I replied coolly. Julian sighed, raising an eyebrow in mock exasperation. "She doesn't like sci-fi films." I let out a short, sharp laugh. Neither do I. It was true I wasn't a huge sci-fi fan. But ironically, half a month ago, when pre-sale tickets for that exact movie went online, I'd immediately bought two, planning to ask Julian to go with me when it premiered. 10 years of liking him had ingrained the habit of catering to his tastes. If he hadn't mentioned it, I might have forgotten to refund those tickets. Perhaps my refusal caught him off guard. He stared at me, momentarily speechless, then managed a faint smile. "Okay. Guess I'll ask someone else then." I nodded, my expression neutral. "Sounds good. I'll head off now." I walked past him. After only a few steps, he called out behind me, "What's been going on with you lately?" I stopped, turning back, confused. "What do you mean?" His lips moved, but no words came out. Finally, he sighed, looking deflated. "Nothing. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Go on home." On the way back, I processed the refund for the movie tickets. A text notification confirmed the transaction shortly after. Seeing the extra $80-odd back in my account brought an unexpected surge of simple pleasure, like finding money on the street. Even though it was my own money to begin with, being single for a long time can get lonely, especially for someone like me who's never really been in a serious relationship. But I didn't regret turning down Julian's movie invitation one bit. Chloe's recent social media posts served as a pointed reminder, but even without it, I had no intention of interfering in their relationship. Just as I was contemplating another boring evening alone, Maya called, her voice frantic. "Sweetie, SOS. Major emergency." Following Maya's urgent instructions, I rushed out the door and headed straight for the airport. Arriving at the terminal, I was about to dial the number Maya had sent me when someone tapped me lightly on the shoulder from behind. "Avijia." Jia means older sister. I turned around and found myself looking up, way up, at a tall young man. He was dressed casually, headphones draped around his neck, a guitar case slung over his back. For a moment I was captivated. His smile was so pure, so genuinely bright. For 10 years, Julian had been the only man occupying my thoughts and affections. I'd become immune to what others considered handsome. Surprisingly, this young man actually made me take notice. He was Noah Sheng, a recent college graduate and Maya's cousin. Snapping back to reality, I smiled. Maya got the dates mixed up. She's still out of town and won't be back until tomorrow. Noah grinned sheepishly. "In that case, I'm throwing myself on your mercy, Avijia. Can you possibly put me up for one night?" I blinked. Maya had only asked me to pick him up, not host him. Seeing my hesitation, Noah continued, his expression turning comically pitiful. "My cousin's not here, hotels are so expensive, and I'm just a poor recent grad." He looked up at me with wide, pleading eyes. I felt a bit flustered. "But I don't have a spare room." Noah's face lit up instantly. "I can sleep on the sofa, or even make a bed on the floor, no problem." On the drive back to my apartment, I felt compelled to offer again. "Let me book you a hotel room. You'd be much more comfortable." Noah just laughed it off. "Absolutely not. Don't spend money on me, Avijia. I'm a guy, I can handle one night on a sofa. Honestly, I could sleep in a park if I had to." His words felt a bit overly dramatic. Once back at my place, Noah made himself completely at home. He immediately volunteered to help cook dinner. Happy to have the night off, I relaxed on the sofa, playing a mobile game. When he called me for dinner, he noticed the game on my phone, his eyes widening with excitement. "Avijia, you play King of Glory too? Awesome. We should play a few rounds after dinner." Before I could answer, Julian's call came through. My hand paused over the phone screen for a beat before I answered. His familiar, deep voice filled the line. "Just got out of the movie. Bought some spicy crayfish. Mind if I bring it over to your place later?" "No thanks," I replied evenly. "My throat's been bothering me lately, can't handle spicy food." "Okay," he persisted. "How about I grab you a bowl of wonton soup instead?" I was about to refuse again when Noah, who had gone to set the table, called out loudly from the dining area. "Avijia, hurry up and try this spicy beef noodle soup I made. It'll get soggy if you wait too long." Me. There was a loaded pause on Julian's end. Then, his voice tight with suspicion, he asked, "Is there a man at your apartment?" I instinctively glanced towards Noah. He caught my eye and flashed me a wide, infectious grin. My gaze drifted to the 2 steaming bowls of bright red, fragrant noodle soup on the table, and my stomach rumbled insistently. "Gotta go, dinner's ready," I said quickly, dodging Julian's question and hanging up abruptly. As we ate, Noah smiled. "I remember when you visited my hometown with my cousin 5 years ago. You loved spicy food back then. Wasn't sure if your taste had changed." Maya and I were college roommates. 5 years ago, I'd spent a week at her hometown for her 20th birthday celebration. That's when I first met Noah. Thinking back, he'd tagged along with us almost every day that week. We'd actually become quite close then. 5 years of no contact had naturally created distance. But Noah's simple remark seemed to instantly bridge the gap. I took a bite of the noodles. "Wow, Noah," I exclaimed genuinely. "This is amazing. You could open your own noodle shop." He beamed. "Glad you like it. Oh, I also brewed some cooling herbal tea. I'll grab it from the kitchen. We can drink it after the noodles to balance out the heat." I watched his retreating back as he bustled around the kitchen. For a fleeting moment, a strange restlessness stirred within me. This young man was so handsome, so warm, so capable. Why on earth had I wasted 10 years fixated on Julian? The next day, shortly after I arrived at work, Julian showed up again. This time holding a breakfast container. He handed it to me with a smile. "Just bought some congee with preserved egg and pork. Eat it while it's hot." I stared at him, surprised, not taking the container. Julian gently pushed it into my hands. "I was thinking last night," he explained. "You always brought me breakfast, but I never once returned the favor. That wasn't very cool of me." "I already ate," I said flatly. "You should take it back." He waved dismissively. "Whether you've eaten is your business. Bringing it is my gesture. Do what you want with it. I need to get back to work." He turned to leave but paused after a few steps, glancing back with a casual, smiling air. "So, who was the guy at your place last night?" "Just a younger cousin from back home," I replied vaguely. His smile deepened. "Oh, family. Got it." He clearly misinterpreted, but I didn't bother correcting him. When I carried the congee back to my desk, my nearby colleague grinned knowingly. "Looking good, Ava. Seems like Mr. Upstairs is finally making his move. Won't be long now." I just shook my head with a small smile and offered the container to her. "I ate already. Want this?" I had indeed eaten breakfast. A delicious meal of millet porridge and savory egg pancakes, freshly made by Noah that morning. My colleague happily accepted. Perfect timing. I was just about to order takeout. Normally, I didn't go home for lunch on workdays, but close to noon Noah called me. "Avijia, I stepped out for a bit, but when I came back, I realized I don't have a key." I texted him my office address, telling him to call me when he reached the building lobby. Instead, he came straight up to our floor. It was exactly lunchtime, the office buzzing with people heading out. Noah's arrival immediately drew attention. Avijia. At 6'1", fair-skinned, strikingly handsome, with a pleasant voice, Noah was hard to miss. He'd apparently ridden a shared bike all the way, his hair damp with sweat, radiating a potent, youthful energy. For a crazy second, I felt a surge of something akin to excitement, almost convinced he was deliberately trying to seduce me. Even knowing it was likely my own overactive imagination, I had to admit, I suddenly wanted to be in a relationship. And maybe an age gap romance wouldn't be so bad after all. Ignoring the teasing glances from my colleagues, I quickly grabbed Noah and ushered him out. I gave him my spare key, and learning he hadn't eaten yet, took him to a nearby restaurant. During the meal, he suddenly said, "I contacted my cousin this morning. Looks like she's delayed with some urgent matter and won't be back for a while. Is it okay if I stay at your place for a few more days?" I agreed readily. He'd already stayed one night without issue, and honestly, having him around wasn't unpleasant. He cooked amazing food, played games with me. He added a much-needed spark to my otherwise monotonous routine. As we were eating, Julian walked down from a private room upstairs with a few colleagues, spotting us immediately. The faint smile on his face vanished. After exchanging a few words with his colleagues, He walked directly over to our table. And this is? Julian's gaze flickered coolly over Noah, his tone hinting at disapproval, his eyes unreadable. To my surprise, Noah didn't return his usual polite demeanor. He let out a soft scoff and pointedly ignored Julian. I looked at Julian, forcing a calm smile. This is the younger cousin I mentioned, staying with me temporarily. Julian's expression cleared slightly, a knowing smile returning. But then Noah put down his chopsticks, a slight smirk playing on his lips. He stood up, meeting Julian's gaze directly. Allow me to introduce myself properly, Noah said smoothly. I'm Noah Sheng, Ava's best friend Maya's cousin. The smile froze on Julian's face. After a beat he extended a hand, his knuckles white. Hello, he said, his voice tight. Julian Jiang. He shook Noah's hand briefly, then turned his gaze back to me. His eyes, usually impassive, now held a barely concealed flicker of anger, clearly blaming me for not clarifying Noah's identity earlier. A moment later, Julian forced another cool smile. Enjoy your meal. I have to go. Before I could respond, Noah waved cheerfully. Take care, Mr. Jiang. Don't worry about us seeing you out. Julian's jaw tightened. As he brushed past me, his lips curled into a sneer, his eyes flashing with undisguised mockery. That evening, while I was enjoying another delicious dinner prepared by Noah, Julian called again. The moment I answered, his hostile voice grated in my ear. Ava, have you no self-respect? Just letting some guy live with you. His accusation genuinely made me laugh. I'm letting my best friend's cousin crash at my place for a few days. How does that concern you in the slightest? Across the table, Noah slowly put down his chopsticks, his expression unreadable. Julian's voice dropped lower, laced with condescension. Ava, I'm saying this for your own good. You're a single woman, you shouldn't be so careless letting a man stay with you. You don't understand how men think. What if he has ulterior motives? You'll regret it when it's too late. I couldn't help but glance at Noah, then replied dryly into the phone. Julian, I think you have it backward. I'm 4 years older than him. If anyone has ulterior motives here, it's more likely me towards him. Across from me, the cool neutrality in Noah's eyes suddenly sparked with light. He stared at me intently, a wide grin spreading across his face. Perhaps my response shocked him. Julian was silent for a moment, then hissed through clenched teeth. Do you even know what you're saying? I raised an eyebrow, my voice cool and deliberate. Julian, there are things I should have made clear long ago. I didn't think it was necessary before, but now I see it absolutely is. I paused, taking a breath. Since you have a girlfriend, it's best we keep our distance. I don't want Chloe misunderstanding our relationship. And furthermore, my personal life is none of your business. I'm an adult. I consider my actions carefully. Julian was silent again. Finally he spoke, his voice low, tinged with frustration. Chloe won't misunderstand. I scoffed. Perhaps. I hung up the phone. Noah looked at me, his expression serious. Avijia, am I causing trouble for you? I shook my head, smiling reassuringly. Not at all. He's the one sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. A strange emotion flickered in Noah's eyes, a hint of something hidden. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by his usual easygoing smile. I assumed that after our phone call, Julian would finally back off and leave me in peace. I never imagined that later that same night, Chloe would post a vicious message in our university alumni chat group. She called me out by name. I've never met such a cheap woman. Claims she doesn't want to be a third wheel, but secretly seduces my boyfriend behind my back. Such a hypocrite. When other alumni asked who she was talking about, she replied bluntly with 2 words, Ava Tang. I was jolted awake in the middle of the night by Maya's frantic phone call. Her furious explanation pieced together the whole ugly incident. I had never ever intended to interfere with Julian and Chloe. From the moment they got together, I had genuinely let go of my decade-long. Wait, stop chasing him. Chloe's public slander was infuriating. I wouldn't just sit back and take it. This time I was truly deeply angry. Noah knocked gently on my bedroom door, his face etched with concern. My cousin just called me, he said softly. Are you okay? A humorless laugh escaped me. I'm fine. Better than fine. Actually, Noah, could you help me with something? I dragged a large storage box out from my closet. Inside were all the birthday gifts Julian had given me over the past 10 years. I asked Noah to film me with his phone. Facing the camera, I spoke calmly, my voice steady. I admit I loved Julian Jiang for 10 years. And this box contains every birthday gift he gave me during that time. I opened the box as I spoke. I once asked my best friend Maya if she believed I could ever stop loving him. She said no, not unless I threw away every single one of these gifts. As Noah filmed, his brow remained furrowed, his expression dark and unreadable. Looking down at the contents of the box, my own eyes felt completely devoid of emotion. It was careless of me not to have dealt with these things sooner. But I knew with absolute certainty. These items, once cherished treasures, were now no different to me than everyday trash. Inside were teddy bears, perfume bottles, watches, and the unopened gift Julian had given me recently. I hadn't even bothered to look at it. Facing the camera again, I smiled faintly. Well, guess what? I'm throwing them all out now. Noah followed me silently as I carried the box out of the apartment, down the stairs, and over to the communal garbage bins outside the building. Facing the camera one last time, my smile widened, becoming genuine, almost radiant. Julian Jiang, I don't love you anymore. From the moment you walked out of my birthday party, I let you go completely. Chloe-chan, I wish you and Julian a long and happy life together. May you grow old together. With that, I lifted the heavy box containing a decade of misplaced affection, and, without a moment's hesitation, dumped the entire contents into the large dumpster. The clatter and crash echoed in the quiet night air. Along with the discarded gifts, it felt like the weight of those 10 years finally lifted from my shoulders. The relief was immense, exhilarating. Video recorded, I opened the university alumni chat group, the one containing Julian, Chloe, Maya, and many mutual friends. I uploaded the video and added one final sentence. Julian Jiang, Chloe-chan, please stop interfering in my life. When I woke up the next morning, my phone showed 7 or 8 missed calls, all from Julian. He'd also sent a text. Sleeping? Call me when you wake up. His usual arrogant tone. But things had gone too far. There was no possibility of even being friends with Julian now. I decisively blocked his number and all his social media contacts. Instantly, my world felt blessedly quieter. Noah and I left the apartment together. When I asked where he was going, he just gave me a mysterious smile. It's a secret for now. I'll tell you when it works out. At the office building, just as I was about to enter the elevator, Julian grabbed me roughly from behind. His eyes were heavily bloodshot, his expression grim. We need to talk. I frowned, checking the time on my phone. I have 10 minutes before work starts. We can talk while we walk. The elevator doors opened. As I stepped towards it, Julian pulled me back again. Let's go to the coffee shop across the street. Watching the elevator doors close, I forcefully wrenched my arm free from his grasp. You're the director of planning at your company. I snapped, my frustration boiling. Over. High position, you can afford to be late occasionally. I'm just a regular employee here. If I'm late, I lose my attendance bonus and get chewed out by my boss. Julian's lips thinned, his eyes darkening. I'll cover your bonus. Our companies cooperate. I'll smooth things over with your boss. A cold laugh escaped me. Are you new to the corporate world, Julian? If you talk to my boss on my behalf, you'll effectively end my career in this company. He frowned. You never liked this job anyway. Didn't you only apply here because my office was on the 22nd floor? If things get tough for you here, come work for my company. I'll take you in. His arrogance was breathtaking as always. It was true. I had gone through hoops to get this job solely to be closer to him. It was laughable now, thinking how he knew my feelings yet pretended ignorance for so long. But he was wrong about one thing. I looked him straight in the eye. Actually, I like my job now, and I have no intention of not making it. Even if I did, I would never come running to you for rescue. Julian fell silent, his gaze heavy as he stared at me. After a long moment, he said quietly, I have to go on a business trip for a while. Wait for me. When I get back, I have something I need to tell you. That afternoon, Noah called, inviting me out to dinner. He was waiting downstairs when I left the office. During the meal, Noah told me, I have to fly to Beijing tomorrow morning. Why the sudden trip to Beijing? I asked, surprised. Noah explained, it's about the songs I sold. The producer who bought them wants to meet again. He thinks I have potential as a performer, not just a songwriter, and wants to sign me. But their main office is in Beijing, so I need to go there with him. Wow, Noah, that's fantastic news. I said sincerely. Maybe you'll even release your own album someday. Noah chewed his lip, his expression suddenly complicated, looking at me as if wanting to say more but holding back. Julian was away on his trip, and Noah moved out of my apartment to prepare for Beijing. My life seemed to revert to its previous rhythm. Yet somehow everything felt different. After Noah left for Beijing, we kept in touch mostly through texts in the evenings. About a week later, a sudden torrential downpour caught me on my way home from work. Arrived soaked to the bone, and by that evening I had a fever. I was burning up when Noah texted, so I didn't even notice my phone. The next morning his call woke me up. My voice was hoarse and scratchy when I answered. "What happened to your voice?" Noah asked immediately, his tone laced with concern. "Are you sick?" I forced a weak smile, my lips dry and cracked. "It's nothing. Got caught in the rain yesterday, think I have a slight fever. I'll take some medicine, I'll be fine." "Okay," Noah said. "Well, take care of yourself. I have to run now." I murmured agreement and hung up. The moment the call ended, an unexpected wave of loneliness washed over me. Maybe it was just being single for so long, but being sick made me feel incredibly vulnerable and alone. I found myself wishing just for a moment that there was someone here with me. But I wasn't lucky like Chloe. When she had been struggling to find work in a new city, feeling desperate, she'd called Julian. And he had driven through the night, abandoning my birthday party, just to be by her side. That afternoon when Noah showed up at my apartment door, I was completely stunned. He stood there, suitcase in tow, looking tired from travel, but his eyes were filled with worry as he looked at me. He came inside, immediately went to the kitchen to boil water, and started making porridge. His sudden return felt too abrupt, almost purposeful. I couldn't shake the feeling there was more to it. "Why are you back so suddenly?" I finally asked. "I thought you might be staying in Beijing for good." He shrugged, offering a casual smile. "The company wanted to sign me, yeah. But I read the contract and turned it down." "Why?" I was baffled. "Don't you want to release your own music?" Noah met my gaze directly. "There was a clause," he explained quietly. "Prohibited dating for 5 years. I can't wait 5 years, Ava." As he spoke, his eyes, usually clear and bright, seemed deeper, shining with an intense light. I remembered meeting him at the airport thinking only how tall and handsome my friend's little cousin had become. Now, facing him, I felt a sudden, unnerving awareness, my gaze faltering, unable to meet his directly. After a long pause, Noah took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on mine. "Avaj, yeah," he said seriously, his voice low but firm. "I like you. I've liked you for 5 years. Will you be my girlfriend?" I froze, utterly speechless. After a moment I stammered, panicking slightly. "You're Maya's cousin. I should ask Maya first." He suddenly grasped my hand, his eyes softening into a gentle smile. "Do you really think my cousin doesn't know?" I stared at him, bewildered. Aren't you giving up too much? Beijing was such a huge opportunity." He shook his head, his smile unwavering. "I don't regret it. No opportunity is worth missing out on you. That would be my only regret." In that instant, a tangle of emotions I couldn't name wrapped around my heart. I looked at him, truly looked at him, and a slow smile spread across my face. "Okay," I heard myself say. "Yes, let's be together." After Noah and I started dating, he often met me downstairs after work. Soon most of my colleagues knew I was in a relationship and that it was an age gap one. One morning as I settled at my desk, my neighboring colleague leaned over conspiratorially. "Does Mr. Upstairs know about your new romance?" "Why do you ask?" "He's back from his business trip," she whispered. "I rode the elevator with him this morning. You know how he usually is, so aloof, never talks to us? Well, today he actually greeted me, and then he asked how you've been doing lately." Apparently, my colleague had spilled the beans about my relationship, and according to her, Julian's face had instantly darkened. I just shrugged, offering a non-committal smile. Julian hadn't approached me since his return, which suited me just fine. About 3 days later, news circulated through the office. Major personnel changes were happening upstairs on the 22nd floor. Julian's business trip had been a massive success. He'd secured a crucial contract for the company. As a result, he'd been promoted from director of planning to vice president. His competence had never been in doubt, but the speed of his ascent was surprising. During the lunch break, Julian came down to find me. Sorry, he began, his tone smoother than usual. Things have been crazy busy with the new role. Haven't had a chance to catch up. Perfectly understandable, I replied coolly. And unnecessary. Julian chuckled softly, a knowing look in his eyes. It's been a while. You must have cooled down by now, right? You blocked me everywhere. Can you add me back now? His confidence was astounding. I almost laughed out loud. Julian, did you actually think that video I posted in the alumni group was some kind of joke? I know you were angry, he conceded. But anger fades. It's been long enough. Are you really going to throw away our friendship over that? I couldn't believe my ears. Did he still think this was just a tantrum? That after I cooled down, I'd revert to being the girl who trailed after him adoringly? Just then my phone rang. It was Noah. I answered, my expression instantly softening as I heard his voice. He chattered happily on the other end. The payment for my songs finally came through. Let's celebrate tonight. What do you feel like eating? My treat. I smiled. Okay. Let me think about it and I'll text you later. After hanging up, I looked up to find Julian staring at me, his eyes cold and dark. You're serious about him? He demanded flatly. I met his gaze evenly. Why wouldn't I be? Julian let out a harsh laugh, his voice dripping with scorn. Ava, wake up. He's so much younger than you. Are you planning on raising a child? That's my choice and frankly, none of your business. I snapped, turning and walking away. That night, Noah walked me home around 10 p.m. Since we started dating, I'd learned that his parents had actually bought him an apartment in Shenzhen years ago. His whole poor student, nowhere to stay routine had been a calculated ploy to get closer to me. Even Maya's supposed forgetfulness about his arrival date was part of their coordinated act. We walked hand in hand to my building entrance. As we said goodbye, he gently cupped my face and leaned in to kiss me. Suddenly, a harsh voice cut through the night air. What do you think you're doing? Julian stood nearby, his eyes dark with fury as they swept over Noah's face, then settled on me. Ava, he commanded, his voice low and tight, his gaze pinning me down. Come here right now. I can overlook this. His audacity made me laugh bitterly. Julian, in what capacity are you offering to overlook anything? His usual arrogance resurfaced. Before my trip, I told you to wait for me. I'm back now. And I'm here to give you my answer. He paused dramatically. I broke up with Chloe. Let's be together, Ava. The news that he'd broken up with Chloe actually did shock me. For 10 years, she was the one unattainable person he'd fixated on. I vividly remembered our graduation night. Julian had planned to confess his feelings to Chloe, only to watch her accept a grand public proposal from a wealthy classmate. I was the one who stayed with Julian that night, holding his hair back while he got violently drunk, watching him weep over her, realizing then that this man, usually so cold towards me, was capable of loving someone that deeply. That night was the beginning of the end of my hope. Knowing he was finally with her was what allowed me to truly let go. Snapping back to the present, I noticed Noah beside me, a faint, dangerous smile playing on his lips, his eyes glittering with something cold. He looked at Julian, his tone deceptively mild. Mr. Jiang, are you perhaps dreaming? Trying to steal my girlfriend right in front of me? Do you think I have no temper? Julian scoffed dismissively. You're just a fresh graduate. Can you provide her with a stable life? Or are you expecting her to support you? Noah tightened his grip on my hand, a roguish grin spreading across his face. Mr. Jiang, have you been investigating me? I admit my annual income isn't astronomical, maybe $1 million or $2. But I own property here in Shenzhen, and I'm planning on buying a decent car soon. I might not be able to offer Ava extravagant luxury, but a stable, comfortable life? Absolutely. I blinked, staring at Noah. Are you serious? You earned that much. He grinned. Totally serious. My songwriting money during university allowed me to start my own small studio. It's been doing quite well these past few years. He paused, glancing pointedly at Julian. And while I turned down the contract in Beijing to debut in a boy band, I signed a different deal as an exclusive composer for the company. My income this year should realistically double last year's. With every word Noah spoke, Julian's face grew darker. When Noah finished, he looked back at Julian, his smile sharp. So, Mr. Jiang, what's your annual income? What makes you so confident that only you can offer Ava stability? Julian's brow furrowed. his expression tight with suppressed anger. After a moment he managed a strained smile. "You're young, impulsive." Before Julian could finish, Noah cut him off smoothly. "I've loved her for 5 years. My feelings are extremely stable. If I weren't underage for marriage, I'd propose to her right this second." I'd always seen Noah as gentle, easygoing. But tonight, he revealed a fiercely protective, capable side that was incredibly attractive. Honestly, when we first got together, it was partly out of gratitude, partly out of loneliness. But now, watching him effortlessly shut Julian down, I felt my heart beating faster, warmer. I think I was genuinely falling for him. Julian, true to form, left with a final parting shot, his voice dripping with disdain. He glanced at me one last time. "I gave you a chance, Ava. You chose not to take it." In the following months, Julian and I continued to work in the same building, occasionally passing each other in the elevator like strangers. One night, months later, one of Julian's friends called me. "Ava, can you come pick up Julian? He's completely wasted, crying and calling your name. He won't leave unless you come." Woken from sleep, hearing Julian's name just made me frown deeper. "Sorry, I'm exhausted. You'll have to figure it out." Before I could hang up, his friend started yelling. "How can you be so heartless? Julian likes you so much. I've never seen him like this over a woman." I hung up immediately. Let them think what they wanted. They had no idea what my 10 years of liking Julian had actually been like. Them claiming he liked me now? The biggest joke I'd ever heard. The next day at work, gossip about Julian filled the office. "Did you hear? Apparently VP John got hospitalized last night after drinking himself sick over some woman," colleagues whispered. My deskmate nudged me. "That woman wouldn't happen to be you, would it, Ava?" I just shrugged. "What do you think?" She laughed. "Probably not. If he liked you, he would have done something about it years ago. Besides, you two haven't seemed to interact for ages." See, even my colleagues understood the situation better than Julian seemed to. Noah bought a ring and planned a beautiful, thoughtful proposal. He said that even though he wasn't legally old enough to marry yet, we could get engaged first. Then, the moment he turned legal age, we'd get the certificate. He wanted, he said, to tie me to his side forever. I said yes. Our status shifted from boyfriend and girlfriend to fiancés. Noah bought a new car and often picked me up from work. One evening, however, he had a last-minute commitment and couldn't make it. As I arrived home alone by taxi, I saw Julian standing downstairs near my building entrance, surrounded by a small mountain of cigarette butts. In my memory, Julian was always impeccably composed, radiating arrogance. But the man I saw that night looked haggard, utterly defeated. He stepped forward as I approached, grabbing my wrist. His bloodshot eyes fixed intently on the diamond ring sparkling on my left ring finger. "You're engaged," he whispered, shock warring with disbelief in his dark eyes. "Yes," I stated simply. He suddenly seemed to lose control, lunging forward, trying to pull the ring off my finger. I shoved him back hard, stumbling backward myself. "Julian, look at yourself. What are you doing?" He ignored me, his gaze still glued to my ring, his voice thick with rage. "How long have you even been with him? How could you agree to marry him? The person you loved for 10 years was me. The person you should be marrying is me." He advanced towards me again, his eyes wild, almost crazed. Panicked, I instinctively slapped him hard across the face. The edge of my ring caught his cheek, leaving a thin red line. It wasn't deep, but a trickle of blood appeared. At least the shock seemed to snap him back to reality somewhat. "What do I have to do?" Julian asked, his voice hoarse, desperate. "For you to come back to me?" Anger still simmered within me. My voice was sharp. "Julian, face reality. We can't go back. Nothing you do will ever make me love you again." Once I had witnessed this proud man break down in tears over Chloe. Now I was seeing him shed his arrogance for me. He suddenly pulled me into a fierce hug, crushing me against him, as if trying to merge our bodies into one. Men are often stronger. When he used his full strength, I genuinely couldn't break free. He lowered his head, seeking my lips. I turned my face away frantically, struggling against his hold. Suddenly, a fist slammed into the side of Julian's head. Noah appeared, yanking me away from Julian's grasp. Before Julian could react, Noah lunged forward again, landing another solid punch. They started fighting viciously. "Stop it! Noah, stop!" I yelled, pulling at his arm. "I'm okay." Noah stood panting, glaring murderously at Julian. Julian, meanwhile, looked like a broken man, a self-loathing smirk twisting his lips. He finally understood, truly understood, that it was over between us. Irrevocably. After the new year, Julian was transferred to the company's Hong Kong headquarters. Before he left, he sent me something via a mutual acquaintance. It was a stunning diamond necklace. Inside the gift box was a card. My lease was up around the same time. As Noah helped me pack for the move to his place, he found the necklace box. He picked up the necklace, examining it, then opened the card. After reading it, he let out a short, derisive laugh. A wedding gift? More like a pathetic attempt to make sure you never forget him. He added, trying to sound casual. It looks expensive, but it's really not your style, Ava. I couldn't help but smile. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. I contacted a charity yesterday. I'm donating it. Noah came over and wrapped me in a tight hug. Where did I find such a perfect, considerate fiancé? He murmured into my hair. I must have saved the galaxy in a past life to deserve you. Leaning against his chest, listening to the strong, steady beat of his heart, I smiled contentedly. No, I thought. I'm the one who saved the galaxy. And,